Black Panther. I have a feeling it's going to be in your top 10 Marvel movies of all time.
10.
Maybe even top 5.
It should be in everyone's top 10.
Come on. It's funny, side note, I went to go see this with my coworker, and today I was talking to her about how I've just been thinking about the movie a lot since I saw it. And I was like, is this one of your favorite Marvel movies? And she goes, well, it's the only one I've seen. And I was like, oh. And I was like, well, I guess you have to kind of catch up. She's like, well, how many are there? I was like 18 at this point. There's a lot of movies.
Going to 08, girl.
Yeah, she was blown away. She had no idea, which I was like, to be that disconnected from movies at this point. I mean, everybody knows that there's all these superhero movies all the time.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. When I saw it, I actually finessed my way into a Thursday night show with MoviePass, which you can't buy a ticket up to the day of. Very proud of myself for that. Nice. But after that was good, I had these two friends right behind me, and they're like, she's like, I've never seen an Avengers movie before. Then her friend's like, I've seen every one. I think just the awareness of this movie is so huge, and it's such part of the zeitgeist. So many great pieces being written about it. Obviously, huge content factory right now, but yeah, the fact that it's attracting people of all ages, attracting lots of women, it is good to see. Good to see that such an event happen, especially in February of all months, which just doesn't usually happen at this time of year.
Absolutely. So Black Panther, Ryan Coogler's third movie. I mean, I think we can probably spoil that we both really liked this movie. We both tweeted about it at different points. I took mine down because I spelled Coogler wrong, which, I mean, if I don't make a spelling error in one of my tweets, did it even happen at this point?
Hey, I saw someone spell Kanye wrong recently. They called it Kanye. The Y and the N were switched. I was like, rough.
That's one of his lines. My name Kanye, but some of my platinum still say Kane. Crazy. In 2018, nonetheless. That's amazing. But basically, this tells the story of Black Panther, who was, you were made aware of in America, Captain America Winter Soldier.
Civil War.
Civil War. Okay.
2016.
2016. And it's when they blow up the building and his dad dies in it. And I mean, it's kind of hard to, I don't want to go full spoiler because I want people to be able to listen to our breakdown of this, but this is a star-studded cast. Ryan Coogler got basically some of the biggest names in Hollywood to come, some of the biggest Black actors in Hollywood to come. Chadwick Boseman is playing Black Panther. Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, Lupita Nyong'o, Nakia, Daniel Kaluuya, Wakabi, Denai Guerrera. Did I say that right? Okoye.
Yeah. Michonne from The Walking Dead finally got to do something else.
And it's funny because she goes from having those long braids in The Walking Dead to no hair in this.
Yeah. Angela Bassett's in this, Forrest Whitaker. And then the overdone joke, the only white guys in it are Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, the Tolkien white guys. Ha ha ha.
And you didn't even mention Sterling K. Brown. That's how stacked this cast is. He's an afternote, dude. But he was electric when he was on the screen. Dave, hit me with some stats about this box office opening.
Yeah, so we're gonna get, like you said, we're gonna kind of get into the plot a little bit in a second. But there's a lot of data, a lot of records about this movie. Which, I mean, I said before, February, not what you expect. The February record for opening weekend was set relatively recently in 2016 with Deadpool, and that was like 135 or so. And let's see. How much did Black Panther make in the middle of February? Well, it made $201.8 million. That's the fifth largest opening of all time, the highest ever for a non-superhero sequel, second highest for a superhero movie, period, behind the Avengers. Absolutely insane. And it's, along with the Avengers, it's the only other Marvel movie to get an A+ cinema score. The word of mouth of this movie is going to be through the roof. I mean, tracking mid last week was 165 for this, which is already would have blown away Deadpool by 30 million. And then yesterday, Sunday, they were like, it's going to be like 190 something. And then the Sunday, it was even bigger than they expected. It just continues to blow by projections. And some more of the comScore data is very interesting. As you expect, big turnout for African-American community, 37%. For comic book movies opening weekend, that's usually around 15%. So obviously, people coming out in force, the Black Panther challenge, a lot of people supporting that, a lot of famous people, church groups and schools. So it's been a concerted effort to get people to see this movie.
Yep.
And then even 45% female audience. Usually comic movies are between 35 to 40. So that's a great sign as well. And like I said, A+ cinema score. Word of mouth's going to be great. Heck, I mean, even if you go down to some more smaller records, 24.8 million opening bow in the UK and Ireland. That's more than the whole run for Justice League, Cap 1, Ant-Man, and Thor. I mean, by like Tuesday or Wednesday here in the States, Black Panther is going to pass the cumulative gross for X-Men Days of Future Past.
Crazy.
I mean, anywhere you look, the 4 days probably going to be like 235. Obviously, President's Day helps. So, I mean, there's so much to buy into that. But I mean, the myth, and this did very well overseas. So the myth that minority-led films are not attractive overseas, I think that's over. That has to be over. Straight Outta Compton, Get Out, Girls Trip.
Yeah.
Now Black Panther, it's done. It's about time.
Yeah, people want to see these movies and they want to hear these stories. The thing that I think makes Black Panther especially appealing is that this is not only a movie led by minorities and that has women in a very prominent role. I mean, his sister, I forgot her name in it, Shuri, is the most brilliant person in the world. Women are the warriors in this. But this is a Marvel movie that has not only probably the best villain they've ever had, but it probably has
easily the best.
The best theme or question at the center of it that is actually intriguing and there's no real right answer to. And it is just a very thoughtful film on so many levels. We should probably say, if you tuned in from Marvel's Mrs. Maisel, we're probably having you tap out if you haven't seen Black Panther, because from here on out, we probably will be getting a little spoilery. But please come back once you see the movie. This is a movie we want to be talking about with everybody we can. This starts off in 1992 Oakland, okay? And you have Sterling K. Brown plotting, and then it basically has the old Black Panther tear him up, and then it shoots forward into the future, and Chadwick Boseman playing the now current Black Panther, T'Challa, and he's going to be made king because his dad's dead, and kind of the plot is driven by the fact that Wakanda is this very secluded society that has done this intentionally to remain safe and advanced under the radar. And that's kind of at the center of it, is what is their role in helping others out? And Killmonger brings that to their attention, played by the magnanimous and amazing Michael B. Jordan.
And the fucking swole Michael B. Jordan.
Brawling.
Holy crap.
I mean, I went with some coworkers to see this, and when Michael B. Jordan took off his shirt for the fight, these two women next to me gasped. They go they were just I thought they were about to pass out. They were so amazed at how big he was.
I mean, shit, I thought he was cut for Creed, but the sheer mass he put on for this movie was really impressive.
Yeah, dude. And obviously it's Michael B. Jordan, so you're gonna get a class acting performance, but he is a believable villain because he was so huge and intimidating.
Right. I think like you said, it's thoughtful, and with its themes and its villain. I think the reason Killmonger is the best Marvel villain is because he has real motivations that you understand, that make sense. Yeah. They're emotional, they're thoughtful, and they're grounded. And not only that, but the questions he's asking, he kind of has a point about Wakanda being secluded in. Keeping its technology for itself and its intelligence and its ability to help people, saving it, the greed with that. And obviously his methods he's radicalized, but it makes sense. And he's so, it's just so refreshing to see such a great villain in a movie of this scale. I mean, I think really Marvel only has 3 good villains, and then there's other ones that are passable and other ones that are just straight up bad and forgettable, right? I think Loki, partially because he's been around a while, he's been developed, and then Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, who is similar to Killmonger but not as emotional or relatable, but still you can kind of see where he's coming from. I think everyone else was totally forgettable. But
so I'm guessing you're not giving your man Bucky villain status.
No, I mean, I guess not. The Winter Soldier is good when he was a bad guy, sure. And I feel like Ego in Guardians Volume 2 is fine. I thought the idea of Ultron was better than what actually happened with Ultron.
Mhm.
But then a lot of other guys like Ronan in Guardians 1,
Ah,
the blue guy,
horrible.
Malekith in Thor 2, the Red Skull even.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of these just aren't that great, you know?
Yeah, you know,
I thought Baron Zemo was good in Civil War, but part of that was because he wasn't much of a villain. He was just kind of like a puppet master. You know, he's letting everyone else do the bad stuff. So,
I think the moment I realized Michael B. Jordan was going to be their best villain was the outfit he wore to that museum.
hell yeah.
Just fucking absurd and outrageous. But actually, to be more serious, when he won the challenge against T'Challa, I
Phenomenal
actually was
scene.
kind of like, Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther. I'm kind of here for it. Like, if they want to just like kill off Chadwick Boseman and go in that direction, I'm here for it.
I have
I'll
time
watch
for this.
movie. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree with you. I think like the fact that Wakanda and Black Panther and they're thinking in this, I actually disagree with, and they made them fallible instead of being like a perfect superhero like Captain America or something like that. Is what makes this movie so good, is because there's no right side in a way. It's just kind of like, how do you move forward from it and deal with it in the best way?
Right.
And it brings in history in a way that's really thoughtful too. Like even when Killmonger dies, he says, "I would rather do this than be like my ancestors on the ships." Just it's really thought provoking on a societal level as well, which is just makes this movie class act.
Yeah, they give Killmonger great agency in his death, which is not something that most villains have a chance of even doing because they're not developed or they don't matter enough, right? But credit to Coogler for the vision of this whole movie, just because as soon as you introduce this Afrofuturist African excellence paradise, the first thing you do is question if it was even doing everything the right way. It's just such a ballsy way to go about it. And I think just the themes, like we keep saying thoughtful because that's what it is. And the fact that there's such a gray area in a comic book movie like this is so important. But I think this movie actually kind of stands above comic book status because of the questions it's asking. And, we always said Wonder Woman is very much better than the sum of its parts because of the meaning behind it. And I think Black Panther is just a kind of a better version of that. I think Black Panther is a better movie than Wonder Woman. No shots at Wonder Woman at all. But I think Black Panther kind of gets deeper into it because it's actually asking the questions in the film, right?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, more or less, it was the take yourself out of the movie in real world and how does it make you feel? But the core plot of Black Panther is asking these important and hard to answer questions.
Yeah, difficult questions. It's hard to find anything in this movie that I really don't like. I'm thinking there were moments when I thought this could be the best James Bond movie of the year. Like when they're in that little casino, I thought that was a very James Bond type vibe.
I mean, Shuri is very obvious analog to Q from 007, the person giving the gadgets to the agent, Black Panther in this case. But I think what was great about her character is that she actually gets to go out and leave the chair, which Q never gets to do. And, Spider-Man's homie in Homecoming doesn't get to do. So I think that was really great to see. And Letitia Wright, I think this is clearly she's the breakout of the film. I mean, we saw her
amazing.
The Black Museum episode of Black Mirror. She's kind of been on some British shows, but this is definitely her coming out party. And she actually also had some of the funniest lines, but it was the don't scare me like that, colonizer. And then what are those? God. The fact that you pulled off an internet meme in this, very commendable.
That actually would be the only thing I think is I don't know if they landed all the jokes that they wanted to, but for a movie that wasn't really the point of it, that's a very like small nit to pick. The costumes in this movie, kind of going back, so I'm thinking about like the challenge scenes, like when they crowned Black Panther, like the costumes are just phenomenal. You think about the mask that the gorilla mask that the guy wore versus the Black Panther mask in the challenge. And just even like the costumes for Killmonger and Black Panther in general were amazing. I thought Kendrick's music could have been actually utilized more, but I think whenever they did, it really created a good vibe to the scene. What did you think of the way that the soundtrack was used?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, the majority of the times the songs they used were in that Korea scene, right? I mean, it's like when Claw pulls up out of his car, then the other people's car, then the car chase scene, which was a great scene. Casino scene was great too. But I mean, that's when we heard the music. There wasn't that. I feel like, did we get any of the songs in the third act? I don't remember.
I think only All the Stars was played at the very end for like the credit scene.
Right. Yeah,
So
but I thought when they were used well, it worked well. I mean, was it Ludwig Göransson did the score, which was separate from the soundtrack? We know him because he's worked with John Gambino for multiple projects. But I thought the score kind of fit the vibe of the movie well, and the whole vibe is quite impressive to Coogler's credit. I think they make Wakanda feel like a real place, both visually with some immaculate CGI, just cool futuristic stuff, but also the village scenes look really good too. I think if I had a quip, I kind of wish we could have seen more of Wakanda that in scenes that weren't immediately servicing advancing the plot, right? Yeah. Like some normal people, some input would have been nice. And you know, Black Panther 2 is a foregone conclusion. It was before this movie became a huge hit. So there's opportunity for that. And I think obviously the first post-credit scene opening Wakanda up to the world will present new opportunities and challenges. So I think people coming into Wakanda should be a big part of the sequel. There's questions about what Vibranium can and can't do. How much do they have? That's fine. I mean, it's MacGuffin at the end of the day. It's okay. I think. What do you think of Everett Ross, Martin Freeman's character? We met him in Civil War, and he was he's a big character from the comics, different portrayal in the movies. I mean, I like Martin Freeman, but I didn't think he had an outsider perspective for the viewer, I guess. But I was kind of happy he didn't die at the end in that plane thing because there wouldn't have been enough emotional weight for it to matter.
Yeah, no, I think for what the character was is just like someone that's moving the plot forward, kind of giving a voice of people that weren't from that one specific country. I thought he was great. I thought he actually delivered some of the funniest moments, which it's Martin Freeman, so he's kind of known for being a comedic, but also a dramatic actor at this point in his career. I thought he was great. I thought Andy Serkis was also good.
He was having fun.
Yeah, he got to just be crazy, which I think he just really likes to do. Like, Gollum doing all the crazy CGI stuff. He's the man. In terms of like the side characters, kind of now that we're getting to that discussion, we haven't really touched much on Nakia, Okoye, Wakabi. Like, who from this probably would you say is your favorite side character?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Okoye was obviously such a badass warrior. Great when she threw her wig. Great moment.
Grace Jones looking bitches.
Yeah, I think I saw that going around. Grace Jones was definitely part of the. What was the warrior group called? I forget.
They were called the Dora Milaje.
Dora Milaje, right?
Yeah, Milaje.
Yeah. So Grace Jones definitely was Dora Milaje earlier in her career. But I mean, I would have liked to have seen another scene with Wakabi and Okoye because like the fact that they were like lovers, we only know that because they told us. We didn't really see it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure that was on the cutting room floor. It's a minor thing. They're both still alive, so maybe it'll come about in Black Panther 2. Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's great. I was kind of confused about exactly what her role was. She's just kind of a nebulous spy, which was fine. But she's not in the Dora Milaje. Again, it's okay. Just kind of a question I had. I thought actually of all the ensemble, this great talented group, I thought the weakest character was Angela Bassett, the mom.
By far.
She didn't. I mean, even when they go to up in the mountains to Winston Duke's clan, right? She did. Like I thought there'd be a moment for her to, take charge with T'Challa, KIA, assumingly. But no, she really doesn't do much there. So I kind of hope they don't like kill her off early in Black Panther 2 because she'll go the way of Thor's mom. Remember Thor's mom got killed and nobody cared because she wasn't much of a character to begin with. I kind of hope they don't do that to Angela Bassett, but we'll see. And even if they do, it's not a big deal, obviously, but just something I could see coming. And then I think some of the CGI was stronger than others. There were some moments where it definitely stood out.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you. Angela Bassett kind of got the raw end of the deal here because basically they were like, yeah, you're just going to hang out here in these mountains while we have all this action going on. Just take a seat on the bench. Sterling K. Brown, though, I feel like every scene he was in held like probably the most emotional weight for me in the movie. Not only did it set up the whole conflict of why Killmonger is seeking to turn things upside down in Wakanda, but also when he talks to Killmonger in that like I don't know afterlife dreamlike sequence.
Yeah.
It really adds an emotional weight to the movie and fleshes out the villain so much more that he really was essential to Michael B. Jordan's performance. I think in a way probably elevated him in some respect because he's such he's on such a high class of acting right now.
Right. I mean, I thought those two astral plane scenes were actually really important because
huge.
I mean, the first one establishes the conflict within Chadwick Boseman, within T'Challa, becoming a new king and not knowing, really how he should rule. And then you get a totally different version of that scene with Killmonger later on. And I mean, you humanize both characters. I mean, it's just so expertly well done. And that's why, while I have minor quibbles with decisions in the movie, I think any movie that's 2 hours long, you're going to have those questions.
Absolutely.
The script, the themes, the maturity, everything about it.
I lost you a little bit there. I'm not sure what your final point was, but I wanted to bring it around to kind of start wrapping up this conversation. Coogler's had 3 movies now. Where would this rank in Coogler's films for you?
Well, that's a good question. Fruitvale, Creed, and this. I mean, it's a good question. It's interesting too because Fruitvale Station, the Oscar Grant, right? Oscar Grant murder story. That cost $900K. Creed cost $40 million, and this cost $200 million before marketing. So he's Fennessy had a great tweet in terms of a director getting this acclaim as he scales up. It's an interesting thought experiment, but is this his best movie? I think it might be. I mean, maybe you can make an argument for Fruitvale Station. I think this is kind of the evolution of Creed.
Yeah,
in terms of his directorial decision making.
Yeah, I would probably put this as his number 1, but I really enjoy Creed. Fruitvale is really good, and it's a phenomenal Michael B. Jordan performance and just the story in general. But I think this has to be at the top for me. Now, probably the question you were expecting, where does this rank in terms of Marvel movies for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking the right question there. I think it. I mean, I've only seen it once, of course, but I've seen a lot of people still loving it after a second viewing. Which is a good sign, of course. And I think it's pretty easily a top 5 movie, but for me, it's early to call it my favorite. But I mean, I think if you're kind of group like the ones that should be in an objective conversation, right? Obviously, there'll be personal preference changes your order, but the best of the best are Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Winter Soldier, The Avengers. And then depending on your preference, you can have Iron Man in that mix. You can have Thor Ragnarok in that mix.
Homecoming,
and then
Avengers,
and then like back Avengers is in there. And then the back end of your top 10, you maybe have Civil War, maybe you have Homecoming. I mean, but those first ones I said I think are the ones that realistically are in the conversation. And I like Winter Soldier a lot, especially at the beginning. But I think this movie is more consistent through and through. And I'd probably put it up there with Guardians.
Yeah,
I love Thor Ragnarok, but because Thor Ragnarok is just excellent, excelling in comedy, it shouldn't be higher than those two because Guardians, the whole vibe was just different. So I think it's this one in Guardians for me than Winter Soldier probably.
Yeah, I'd probably put this one. I mean, in terms of ones a Marvel movie I've thought about the most, it's got to be number 1 because it's like the most like thought provoking and just smart movie that they've probably made. But yeah, Guardians is probably the most fun, and Winter Soldier for what it was and just kind of like setting up, I think, plot moving forward, it meant a lot. So it's hard to say. It's really tough.
And that's the thing too. I think the way you have this conversation needs to change as the years go through. I mean, obviously Marvel continues to learn stuff. So the Thor Ragnarok Black Panther run right now is a great run. And then Infinity War, I don't think will be better than these movies because it has so many moving parts, but it's going to be so big, right? And so important. But you have to kind of make these changes in your mind. Do you still love Iron Man because of the movie? or are you just giving it points because of what it means and how important the movie is in history, right?
Yeah.
And that also kind of extends to Avengers, but I think Avengers still really holds up. Iron Man still holds up well too, but I think the things Iron Man does well have been built up upon in future films. Not Iron Man's fault, but you have to kind of acknowledge the way it goes. So Winter Soldier, I really want to watch again. I haven't seen in a minute just because knowing the shield thing happens in that movie. Do I still love the thrower aspect of it? Because the third act of it was very Marvel-y at the time, the CGI heavy. And while Black Panther still has a CGI third act with their fight on that train, reminded me of Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace.
It also reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of the most recent, the Last Jedi, that scene with Rey where she throws it up and cuts the guy in half. Where he's like got her. Reminded me of that exactly. I was like, that's a Star Wars shadow. Gotta be.
But Black Panther has what a lot of the other movies didn't have because they didn't have good enough villains to pull it off, which was that scene on the cliff where Killmonger, giving the line about the slaves, right? So, it's okay you can't review any of these movies in a vacuum, right?
No.
And I think, but you also have to kind of review every movie in that frame. Iron Man, what Iron Man meant in 2008 and in 2012 is not what Iron Man means in 2018. So I think Black Panther is at the top of the list or close to it. I don't really see how. I mean, obviously preference is preference, but I think objectively, the importance of history and the questions it asks are things that no other Marvel movie has ever done.
Yeah, and I think the timing and just what it means to minorities and to women as well, having being put in such positions of power and having it be just about these stories is so important. I think your point is right on. Any last thoughts on Black Panther? Anything we didn't touch on?
No, I mean, I think we know most about. Funny thing I saw going around. So remember Winston Duke's clan up in the mountains? They said they were vegetarians, yet they were wearing that. They were wearing that fur, so they're okay with killing animals. They just won't eat them. Sounds wasteful to me.
Yeah. Also, Chadwick Boseman, I need more from you when you say, "Can someone get me a blanket?" when you come back from the dead. There, I just needed more in that moment. Didn't land with me, but overall, Black Panther, definitely see it. And tweet at us your thoughts at NowstalgiaPod, at Martin Swagger, at Sheeny World Peace. We want to be talking about this moving forward. I have a feeling we'll probably be touching on it on our year-end list for sure.